Hi, beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. Now, before we get into today's video and topic, let us give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, which is West Kiss Hair. So, they sent me this beautiful wig, which is glueless. I absolutely love how that blends into literally my skin and everything. You know how it goes with wigs. So this hair is 180 density HD body wave with a 5x5 lace closure. The wig is 16 inches and it has an HD lace, and I have a medium wig cap on. But in case you missed the details, I will link them down below.
Okay, guys, so I'm just gonna go straight into it. Today, we are discussing toxic relationships and their impact on your mental health. I am obviously speaking from experience because I've never spoken about this toxic relationship, and it really, really affected me. It affected the level of work I was able to produce. It affected the way I was as a person. I kind of think in the last few months of that relationship, if you were someone looking from the outside in, you could just see that I wasn't in a good space. Firstly, from the way I looked. Secondly, me not putting almost like zero to no effort into my appearance because I was just in a space where I did not care. I was not okay, mentally. I was going through a lot. I was expressing how I felt to a lot of people, to his friends, and everyone thought I was crazy, basically. And it all made sense after the relationship ended because basically, when I was telling people what I was going through and nobody was listening to me, it's because this toxic person was already giving an ideal picture of me and my actions. So it kind of made sense why nobody believed me, because from the beginning he was already going behind my back and painting a picture of the type of person that I am. So it really, really was messed up. So basically, the purpose of this video is to try and help anyone that's in the same situation sort of decide what is best for themselves. I know being in a toxic relationship can kind of make you think oh my god, I am crazy. I am the problem. Everything that is happening in this relationship is my fault because I just can't seem to ever do anything right. I am the one causing people to hit on me. I am the reason my partner is never happy with anything. So if you're in this situation, then just keep on watching, let's talk. So firstly, how do you recognize that you are in a toxic relationship? There are visible signs. One would be manipulation. I think manipulation is not one that you clearly see in the beginning. It takes time, and sometimes that is something that can be picked up by people that are close friends or family. They will recognize the manipulation and tell you, listen, this person is kind of actually controlling your life and telling you what to do. In this case, the person who noticed the manipulation quite a bit was my sister, because obviously her knowing me, she kind of realized, no man, this is not my sister. This is not how my sister acts. My sister is so different from this. There is no way she is in her right state of mind. So manipulation is one of those points to look out for. Another thing would be control. You might notice that this person starts to control the things you do, how often you see your friends, how often you see your family. And in my case, I think I kind of noticed it the first time when this person had an issue with me seeing my friends that I had not seen in 3 months. Basically, while I was at this lunch date, he started a fight on based on the fact that I didn't spend enough time with him on that weekend because I am out with my friends. And this is me having been out for about 2 hours. And literally, I had spent the night at his place. And I was going to spend the night at his place because he was supposed to pick me up for this lunch. So already you can tell, like, just that, not a vibe. Another thing would be constant criticism. I remember getting constantly criticized for getting a lot of DMs because, yeah, he kind of thought like most of my DMs were flooded with men, whereas I am a beauty influencer. My DMs were flooded with people wanting to know what my foundation shade is, or wanting to know what size a particular outfit is when it comes to like the fashion content that I share. And I really wasn't sharing fashion content quite a lot then. I think my main focus was like lifestyle stuff, so people would basically be asking me about the things that I've shared. So it really didn't make sense why he would always criticize me about looking at my phone, thinking that you know, I was obviously communicating with someone else. Sorry if this mic does make a noise. And another thing was emotional abuse. So the emotional abuse would be through fighting, and we would always be fighting over ridiculous things. I would be accused of cheating when I haven't, so that I would be forced to apologize. And then at first, the reason why I couldn't pick these things up is because also already mentally I wasn't in the right space. Then I was on medication that, you know, the doctor had said would kind of cause a bit of depression, and which it did. And having explained that to the person then, I think they took advantage of that situation, because whenever something would happen, the blame would be shifted on me, and it would be like, oh, maybe it's you because, you know, the doctor did say you're on this medication, so you're the one kind of like making things worse than they should be for the two of us, because you're just like not okay. And later on in life, after having forgiven myself and realized that I was never the problem, I realized the problem wasn't me. And this is how I sort of like pointed out all those issues. And you know, it may take you a bit of time, so please forgive yourself. Do not put any pressure on yourself, because we are all human, okay? We are human. If you don't see this in the beginning, it is okay, because one thing about people that will manipulate you is that they will not allow you to pick this up in the beginning. You'll probably think, oh no, how did I not see this? But trust me, do not blame yourself. You are not at fault here. And obviously also forgiving yourself does take quite a bit of time, so just love yourself. Forgive yourself for not having seen the signs in the beginning. Okay, now I'm gonna do the other side. So this is how I get my hair nice and bouncy. Do you see how like flat that is on one side? Yeah, this is how it looks. It's very important for you to admit to yourself that that relationship was toxic, and forgive yourself, because if you do not admit that that relationship was toxic, you will go on like with life blaming yourself for that relationship having gone the way that it did. And then an important thing is giving yourself permission to grieve. It's important to grieve that relationship. I'm just going to turn this around because I want to be closer to this cable. It's important to allow yourself to grieve, because I mean, it's not your fault that the relationship has ended, and there were other factors that have led you guys to be in the position that you're in. And because the relationship obviously had its ups and downs, there must have been ups that you enjoyed. So it's okay to say, you know what, there was a time in that relationship where I was happy, especially if it started out on a good note and these things started happening much later in the relationship. So do not blame yourself, and take as much time as you need to, like, you know, get over that. Like, you don't really need to like jump into dating immediately. It's also, that might also be hard, because you won't be able to it's going to be like, you'll still be hurting so much, then when someone is being nice, you won't understand whether they're being nice or they are in the stage where they're trying to manipulate you again, because you'll easily be triggered by things that people around you just do. So I always say, like, give yourself time so that whoever comes into your life is not having to deal with that stage where you're healing and uncertain of a lot of things, that you end up pushing them away. And ways in which you can grieve can either be through talking to someone that has been in a similar situation. So if you have a friend that has gone through something like that, and and even if you have a friend that has gone through something like that, it won't be easy for you to pick it up when it happens to you, because I'll tell you something about toxic relationships. They do not start toxic. That is something that happens later. So, grieve by speaking to people that have been in situations like that. I spoke to a friend that had been in a situation like that, and they helped me understand that it wasn't my fault, and that I was not going crazy, and that, because for the longest time I blamed myself. So, speak to somebody. Another way I would say, if you don't want to speak to someone, is you can journal. And if really it does affect you a lot, I would honestly advise that you speak to a therapist maybe, and they could sort of like help you further than just like talking to a normal person. Now, the most important thing about leaving a toxic relationship is obviously rebuilding your self-esteem and self-image, because toxic relationships can leave you feeling like, you just not like worthy anymore, or that you are not perfect. Well, not perfect. They'll just leave you feeling like, something is wrong with you. So it's important for you to take time to love yourself, enjoy your company, take time to appreciate who you are as a person, spoil yourselves, especially if like you were criticized body-wise. Take time to appreciate who you are, because somebody out there is gonna love you for all your imperfections. And if someone has chosen to use your imperfections as ammunition in that relationship, then I need you to understand that they're the problem. They are honestly the problem. So take as much time as you want to rebuild the person that you are. If a way to rebuild your self-esteem is to like buy yourself new clothes, buy yourself new makeup, then go through that. Like, it's super, super important to go through that journey and to not rush it at all. Another thing that I would sort of like suggest is you having a support system during this healing stage, because one thing about a toxic person is they will try come back into your life. They will try wiggle themselves into your life. You need someone who will give you that wake-up call when you think of doing otherwise. Find someone you can speak to who understands you being honest, to say, listen, don't judge yourself when you miss the person, because obviously, I'll be honest with you, what you're missing is the good times that you shared. And a lot of the times what our brain does, it tends to like sort of like block out the moments that hurt us and focus on the good times. So with someone that's done a lot of bad, in most cases, you won't remember all the bad that they've done, but you will remember the good. And as you remember that, you'll think, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I need to forgive them. Maybe I'm over exaggerating. Have someone that will be there to constantly remind you what this person has done and why you deserve better. And if you do realize you deserve better without having to have a support system, then I do give you a shout out and say well done to you. For most people, it's never easy, and just saying, I'm not speaking as a trained therapist or anything like that, so please do not take this as advice that comes from a person that is trained to do this. I'm just sharing tips based on how I have healed from a situation in my life, and I thought that it would be more helpful to share my hair videos with information that is valuable rather than me just doing my hair, because guys, I think you would get tired of seeing me do my hair. But if it's information that is vital to you and helps you in some way, then you'll probably enjoy it. So this was my way of coming back to hair tutorials, so they'll be more focused on giving you information that I feel we both deserve. It's like having a chit chat with your older sis, you know. And then an important point where I know a lot of you might be like, oh my gosh, no, is forgiving and letting go. It's very important in order for you to move on from this person to just forgive them and let what they've done go. I mean, it will offer you a lot of healing, and it'll also stop like that person or whatever they've done from getting in the way of anything new that's coming into your life, especially if you have a relationship with someone new. You don't want to be dwelling on the past. I mean, it's okay to speak about it with your new partner, because they need to understand like what you've been through in the past, because this will also help them understand like why you're triggered by certain things. So yeah, just forgive and let go and move on, basically. And then the most important thing is to embrace a new beginning. So you can embrace a new beginning by moving forward or focusing on self-care, focusing on yourself and letting the situation go. Because one thing, focusing on one thing for a very long time can sort of like hinder your growth in many other areas of your life. I understand you feel so bad that like you've allowed this to happen to you. And yes, no matter how smart we are as humans, sometimes we do make stupid, dumb decisions. And sometimes we don't see people for who they are earlier. So even if like, you didn't get to see this person for who they are much earlier, forgive yourself, move on, love yourself. It's happened to some of the smartest people in the world. They didn't see it. They didn't see some of these, cunts for who they are. But it's okay. Learn to love yourself. Allow yourself to grieve, and, just focus on the future. Focus on meeting new people. There are good people out there. Not everyone is an asshole. So basically, I've done my hair. Not everybody is an asshole. So I'm really, really loving this hair. Not everyone is an asshole. So basically, in conclusion, it's okay if you've been hurt. It's okay if someone has taken advantage of your kindness and you didn't see it. These things do happen in life, and sometimes you can't foresee these things. I mean, I wish we could foresee these things and manage to like get away from them. It's not always that easy, but I just need you to forgive yourself and move on and focus on healing and finding the best version of you.